Sister Wives' real reason Robyn's kids didn't mesh with OG kids. It's no secret that Robyn Brown's children are vastly different in personality than the others. In the earliest days of Sister Wives, all the children seemed to get along. But somewhere down the line, the family splintered. As adults, Aurora and Brianna Brown seem to believe the other children never wanted them around. Dayton Brown hasn't been seen on the show in years, so it's not immediately clear how he feels about the dynamic. But after all this time, some Sister Wives viewers think there are pretty clear reasons the children never fully integrated with one another. Sister Wives fans can see Robyn's children are very different. Robyn Brown's children weren't always part of the big household, but they did spend many of their formative years there. However, as the children aged, it became clear that Robyn's children were still very different in every way. But why exactly did it happen? The kids said it best. A Sister Wives fan posted on Reddit recently. "I'm on a rewatch, and the kids were discussing how they've tried to blend and adapt to Robyn and her kids, but they haven't done the same. What effort was done on Robyn and her tender's part to blend into the family? What traditions and values did they bend to fit into the existing Brown family?" Viewers think the dynamic was doomed to fail from the start. Other Reddit users agreed that the 13 original children tried to integrate Robyn's children into the family. Growing up, Brianna and Aurora were visibly close with Gwendolyn, Isabel, and many of the younger girls. However, a few pointed out that there would probably always be hiccups, regardless of the circumstances. The original 13 children were always loud, boisterous, and enjoyed roughhousing and poking fun at one another. Robyn's children were always very sheltered and weren't sure how to respond. Other Redditors wrote, "I don't remember which kid said it, but one of the boys commented offhandedly, 'Robyn's kids cry a lot.' Says it all. She wanted the blend to be on her terms, not the existing status quo. Her kids were accepted, started to absorb the OG kids' personalities, and she was losing control. Robyn came in expecting to change everyone to her preferences, not assimilate to theirs. When Cody said she sat the kids down and told them to integrate and respect everyone, they did, but she didn't like the outcome. She wanted to blend her kids into the family, but not completely. And she had zero interest in the OG 13 blending into her family, unless it was for babysitting purposes. The tension between Robyn Brown's children and the original Brown family kids has long been a point of speculation among Sister Wives fans. While Cody Brown has repeatedly blamed the divide on jealousy, bad attitudes, and even Cristin's alleged hostility, the truth may be far more complicated. Beneath the surface, a web of favoritism, family politics, and Cody's shifting priorities may have played a much larger role in why Robyn's kids never truly meshed with the original Brown children. The instant divide, a new family, a new dynamic. When Robyn entered the family, she didn't just bring herself into the fold, she brought 3 children from a previous marriage, Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. Later, she and Cody added Solomon and Ariella to the mix, further solidifying their own unit. While the Brown family had always operated under the notion of unity and togetherness, it quickly became clear that Robyn's kids were placed in a different category, even if no one openly admitted it. From the beginning, the OG Brown kids, Logan, Aspen, Mykelti, Peyton, Gwendolyn, Isabel, and others, were raised in a tight-knit, chaotic, yet loving environment where they relied on each other for support. Janelle and Cristin's children especially grew up as pseudo-siblings, bonded through shared experiences of communal living. However, when Robyn's kids joined the family, they weren't immediately folded into that system. Instead, Robyn insisted on a more private, isolated approach to parenting, one that kept her children somewhat separated from the rest. Cody's over-the-top protectiveness. One of the biggest contributing factors to the divide was Cody's behavior. While he had always been a father figure to all of his children, something changed when Robyn's kids arrived. Whether it was out of guilt for uprooting them or a genuine deeper connection with them, Cody seemed far more protective of Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna than he had ever been of his biological children from his other wives. This protectiveness showed itself in several ways. Cody was visibly softer with Robyn's kids, often coddling them and stepping in as their advocate. When Dayton was involved in an ATV accident, Cody rushed to care for him in ways that some of his other children had never experienced. While it's natural for a father to worry about his kids, the difference in treatment was stark. Meanwhile, Cristin's kids, like Isabel, felt abandoned, especially when Cody refused to travel with her for her major scoliosis surgery. This imbalance bred resentment, and it didn't go unnoticed by the OG kids. The toxic loyalty test. Another unspoken issue was the expectation of loyalty. Robyn has repeatedly framed her children as fragile and in need of protection, which meant that any tension with the other Brown kids was interpreted as hostility toward them. Over time, this created an environment where any normal sibling disagreements were blown out of proportion. In fact, several of the OG kids, particularly Peyton and Gwendolyn, have implied that Robyn's children were raised to be completely loyal to her and Cody, rather than blending with their siblings. Gwendolyn, in particular, has been open about the fact that she felt there was an expectation that they had to tiptoe around Robyn's kids, whereas the OG kids were simply expected to adapt. This double standard made it difficult for real, organic relationships to form. The house that changed everything. Another major turning point was the move to Flagstaff. Before that, in Las Vegas, the kids still had a semblance of normal interaction because they all lived in houses on the same cul-de-sac. However, once they moved to Flagstaff, that connection was shattered. Not only did the kids become physically separated by distance, but it was also during this time that Cody's favoritism became undeniable. While Janelle's sons, Garrison and Gabriel, struggled with their father's increasing absence, Robyn's children became the ones receiving his full attention. The pandemic only worsened the issue, with Cody using COVID-19 as an excuse to stay primarily at Robyn's house, further isolating her kids from their siblings. The OG kids, especially the older ones, saw this as the final confirmation that they were no longer a priority in their father's life. Cristin and Janelle's exit cemented the divide. The final nail in the coffin for any real relationship between Robyn's kids and the original Brown kids came when Cristin left the family, followed by Janelle. With Cristin's departure, her children became even more detached from Robyn's, and it was clear there was no effort to mend that divide. Janelle's kids, who had already been at odds with Cody, saw no reason to force a bond with children who had seemingly been placed on a pedestal. Even after Cristin and Janelle left, Robyn continued to act as though the division was out of her control, despite the clear signs that her own approach to parenting, combined with Cody's favoritism, had played a significant role. Conclusion: a family that was never meant to blend. At the end of the day, Robyn's children never meshed with the OG Brown kids because they were never truly given a chance to. Between Cody's favoritism, Robyn's protective nature, and the shifting family dynamics, the divide was inevitable. While Cody and Robyn may continue to blame external factors, the truth is much simpler. The family they tried to build was never as united as they claimed. And now, as the fractures continue to widen, it's clear that the Brown family will never return to what it once was.